fall and winter leagues. I spoke about how there was instructional ball. Adding on to that for a off-season training component would be fall leagues like the Arizona Fall League, winter ball leagues like they do in Dominican, they do in Venezuela, they do all across the world, to be honest with you, and the aforementioned instructional ball. I think this would give us something to do with the minor league players in the offseason so that at least we can run them through a training or maybe play some games in the middle of the offseason. You could just player lock them, to be honest, especially considering that when it comes to the Arizona Fall League, teams are selected by position, and I think you get a handful of players per team, and they're really sparse throughout the different organizations, grouped teams in said league. And honestly, it makes for some interesting offseason baseball if you really, really want to get your fix in of, watching some guys you might not see for, hell, you might see them the next year. You might not see them for a couple years, but it at least gives the players some kind of showcase of their talents as opposed to, well, guys are just sitting on the minor league roster. We don't know what they're doing. And let's be honest, training doesn't seem to work. As I've probably mentioned ad nauseum, I've played MLB The Show since '06, and I have scoured all kinds of forums and kind of defunct websites to try to get an idea how other people formulate their training. Training has come in many different forms in MLB The Show, and to be honest with you, I have not seen a single version of it that seems to really translate to any kind of, hey, this actually works. For instance, we had the checkboxes era where you can put your team through different categorized groups of training. So it'd be like speed training or batting training, and you could do it with specific whole group of positions. I like the idea of that, but there's no way to really tell if a player is getting better. How it was before, there was a screen where you can check the year to date as far as attributes, whether they're going up or going down. I would love to bring that back just because it would at least give us an idea of, hey, this guy is actually getting better year over year. Maybe we should call them up. Maybe we should trade them if they're not getting better. And training just can't be based off a player's potential. I would take the small sliver from out of the park baseball and add work ethic. Now, I know that might ruffle some feathers when it comes to current day players. We don't know how hard they work. You could honestly just randomize it and I'd be fine with that, especially considering major league players. I mean, you'd like to think that once you're at the major leagues, you're at least going to be average work ethic. You're going to go out there every so often and actually work on your craft. Maybe not Anthony Rendon. I'm kidding. I wouldn't even knock him, even though some of his comments in the past have shown us he might not really like baseball. Hell, he's even said it. It's come out of the horse's mouth. The current iteration of training really isn't that much better. When you really sit there and look at it, you can run players through different trainings, but there's nothing that I can actually do. I would take the approach of the road to the show, I believe from about 17 through 20. You could actually play through a lot of the different aspects of, hell, just training as a baseball player, bat control, hitting it in a certain place. A lot of these, I think they would run into the problem of people would probably be able to game them. My biggest issue would be the the CPU not utilizing any of this. I've shown with scouting, the AI teams do not bother to scout that much. They don't discover new talent. They barely look at the ones that you see get drafted. You constantly see the first pick, the second pick, the third pick. They'll be barely scouted. 5%, 8%, 10%. That's it. Like, teams shouldn't be drafting blindly or not completely. I can understand if slot value is too high for them to take a player they might have scouted 100%. That makes sense. But I have looked through every team's scouting queue, and there'll be like maybe three players that are anywhere scouted beyond like 20%, which makes it seem like I'm cheesing the system to actually that I feel no challenge. If the CPU is not going to challenge me, why am I even bothering to play this mode? Like, if they're not going to challenge me, I would say I'd rather leave everything on auto, but I don't trust the game that much because if the CPU teams aren't running it properly, I don't expect the CPU to run my team properly, they'll scout 15 relievers, and I'm like, we don't need relief pitching. We need a catcher. We need a left fielder. We need a first baseman. And with two-way players, in which there are like a quite literal handful of them, including Ohtani, two of which are in the Giants organization, Reggie Crawford and Bryce Eldridge. Bryce Eldridge was literally just drafted last year and was not a part of the, oh, hey, look at all these draftees we got, guys. He was like the 15th pick. They put, I think, 15 of the first 18. They skipped guys here and there. Training for a two-way player or training a player to become a two-way player, you have to have training work in some capacity. And if that doesn't work, honestly, it's a waste. It's a waste of space. It's a waste of memory.
You are, it seems, a man of many skills. A rare combination.